series is almost upon us once again. And I'm probably assuming some of you are going to be having parties and you're wondering, what the hell can I serve these people for the October Classic? How about some corn dogs, a bacon cheeseburger, macaroni?
All right, let's start off this bacon cheeseburger macaroni. First thing you want to do is grab yourself a pound of ground beef. This is an 85-15 mix. Really good. And of course, get yourself the freshly ground beef. I don't dink around with that tube chub crap. And then you want to add a generous amount of salt and pepper. Don't worry, it'll get more evenly dispersed than that. Then you want to take a spatula and just start chunking this here ground beef up. And then you want to brown this ground beef till it's done. And then, of course, drain all the grease off. Okay, then you want to take some extra thick cut bacon and start chopping it up into pieces. You want these pieces, about an inch or so. Then, of course, after you've chunked the bacon up, you want to place it in a pan over medium-low heat. You don't want bacon on a very high heat because bacon, believe it or not, burns rather easily. So the lower, the better with bacon. And you just want to fry all those little pieces up till they're nice and crispy and delicious. Then in a separate pot over a very low heat, just warm is satisfactory for this. You don't want to have this too hot because the cheese will burn. You want to add 3 jars of Ragu cheese sauce. Alright, once that delicious beef is all browned up, you want to add that to your cheese sauce and stir that in. Okay, then you want to add the bacon once that's done to your cheeseburger mix. That's why it's called a bacon cheeseburger. Damn, that looks good enough to eat already. Seriously, I think this could actually be a dip just by itself. Seriously, look at that and tell me that can't be a dip just on its own. Okay, then you want to get a pot of water for our macaroni, and with all pasta, you want to salt and oil the water. A little bit of pink sea salt and some olive oil. You don't got to use extra virgin olive oil, just the regular old blended olive oil will work for this. And I just want to talk a minute about, like Olive Garden says, the salt corrodes your pans and makes them wear out faster. Look, the minuscule amount of damage that the salt would do to the pan is absolutely negligible compared to what the salt brings to the pasta. So please, just salt the damned water and don't worry about your pans. If you get a few thousand less cooks or few hundred less cooks, pans are cheap enough, just buy new. Now, you want to add about a pound of macaroni excuse me. Standard 16-ounce box of macaroni. And also, another thing on pasta, you want to have a ton of water because pasta needs to swim, so you don't have to constantly stir it. It doesn't stick to the bottom or become this weird, gloopy mess. One last thing I forgot to mention is you want to cook this here macaroni for 7 minutes for al dente. Alright, our pasta has been cooked, drained, and rinsed off with cold water. The reason you want to rinse it off with cold water stops the cooking process immediately. Then you want to add that cheese sauce. Look at that. Looks delicious. And I'm not sure if you could see it at the bottom of the pan, but that's why you want to keep the heat very low with the cheese sauce, because even with as low as I had it, the cheese sauce started to burn a little bit. Then you want to grab a spoon and give this a good old mixing around. Now, this is good enough to eat right now, but we're not done yet. Alright, get yourself one of those glass rectangular baking dishes and pour the macaroni in. Yeah, I think you know where we're going with this one. Alright, then take your spoon and kind of spread it out as evenly as possible. Oh, also, before this, you kind of want to be heating that oven up to about 350 degrees. And then you're going to want to be adding some panko breadcrumbs to this. And basically you want to crust the top of this here macaroni and cheese and bacon and burger and all forms of deliciousness. Then pop it into the oven for about, 20 minutes. Alright, while the macaroni is hanging out in the oven, let's get to work on the corn dogs. First thing you want to do is grab yourself a pack of hot dogs. These are ballpark beef hot dogs in honor of the fact I'm doing this for the World Series. And you want to have them drain on a paper towel because you want to get all that excess water and moisture off of them. And me, to make sure they're completely drained, I'm going to completely cover my hot dogs. Time to make the batter for the corn dogs. Alright, now, when you make this batter, be precise. And I mean really precise. Level everything off and be as accurate as you possibly can be. Especially with the liquids. Okay, let's start with a cup of all-purpose flour into your large, pitcher or whatever the hell you want to call it, measuring cup. And you want something with a spout on it because you're going to have to pour it into a glass. And you'll see why this is an absolutely necessary step when we continue on. Then you want to add a cup of yellow cornmeal. And like I said, level everything off. Normally I'm not too picky about measurements or any of that stuff, but this time you gotta be picky. Then you want to add 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, or if you actually used self-rising flour instead of all-purpose, you can kind of omit the baking powder, but 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And then you want to stir all this up. Alright, once you've got those ingredients all stirred around and nicely mixed together, it's time to add the last bit of ingredients. You want to take some freshly ground black pepper and put that in. And of course, what is some pepper without some freshly cracked pink salt? Then you want to add a cup of milk. And once again, level it off. If this batter is too thick, feel free to add more milk, but add it by the tablespoon because you want a nice thick batter that you should, the consistency should be something you can kind of have to push through, but you should be able to pull the hot dog out without the skewer coming off the dog. Then you want to take a nice tall glass. I like using a Pilsner glass for this, but you can certainly use any glass you like. Just make sure it's nice and tall and wide enough for the hot dog. Like I said, I think Pilsners do the best job at this. Okay, and our macaroni and cheese has spent about 20 minutes in the oven. And if you want a little less, feel free to have it a little less. Everything's cooked, so you're just heating it up. Then one last step. You want to give the top of this here bacon cheeseburger macaroni a coating of about 2 cups of extra sharp cheddar cheese that's been finely shredded. And then pop it back in the oven for about 10 more minutes. Okay, our bacon cheeseburger macaroni is done. Just let it chill out and cool down and rest for a minute, and we're going to get to work on these here corn dogs. Alright, now to make corn dogs, of course, we got to have them on a stick. So you want to take the flat end of a bamboo skewer. I don't know why people use the pointy end. Why do you want to bite into something that might stab you in the roof of the mouth? So take the flat end. Hot dogs are not that hard to push through. Push it through, and that's it. Hot dog on a stick. Ready for the frying. Alright, then you want to take one of your hot dogs on a stick and dip it completely in the batter, and that's why you want the tall glass. So submerge it, pull it out, let's get ready for the oil. Okay, then you want to drop the hot dog or corn dog in the batter for frying. It'll take about, 5 minutes to fry up, because all you're really doing is cooking the batter anyway. One thing I can't stand about hot dogs and people these days is you have to cook hot dogs to 165. They're pre-cooked. Why? And then you want to add a few more. I wouldn't have any more than 4 if you have a very large pan, because you want to give them some room to swim around in. And also, that's why you want the batter relatively thick so that it can stick to the hot dog during the frying process. So about 5 minutes, and these will be done. All right, the corn dogs are now done. You want to take 2 of them and place them like so on a plate. Why we do this, I don't know. We just do. Do not question it. Then, I don't know, maybe because the sticks are sticking out. Then, you want to take some of that bacon cheeseburger macaroni we made. Put that on a little spatula and place that on a plate. And there you go. A perfect dish for your World Series celebrations.
And that's corn dogs and bacon cheeseburger macaroni. So the next time you want to have some treats for your next party, or be it more appropriately the World Series, check this one out. Great on their own, but absolutely phenomenal together.